Hi guys, Ashley here. Today we have a phenomenal guest with us, Alberto Antinucci. Alberto is joining us, in fact, from Italy right now. And today we're going to talk about Italy, China, what's happening with Corona, how it's all impacting business. It's going to be a quick chat. Alberto, thank you so much for joining us right now. How is everything in Italy?
Hello, Ashley. Thank you for calling up. Everything is very well in Italy, apparently. The sun is shining, the weather is getting warm, and, looks like a great day to be outside. Unfortunately, Italy is under lockdown for a couple of weeks already, and things are not going to change any soon. So, yeah, here we are. How about in Hong Kong? Is it changed in Hong Kong? I know it's getting better in Hong Kong.
Actually, in Hong Kong, we just recently had a second wave of imported cases. So we were so good for a couple of weeks. We were like below 200 cases for many, many, many weeks. And then 2 weeks ago, we had imported cases. And then there's been a couple of days when we had 50 plus new cases from those that traveled overseas. So I would say it's going a little bit back. It's the second wave, but we are holding up. You were just now telling me privately before we started recording how incredible it was to speak with Chinese friends and Chinese people, and when they realized how profoundly Italy was affected, they actually offered their help. So tell me a bit more about your experience before Italy was hit with your Chinese business partners, and what happened right after Italy was hit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, you know that I've been in China for the last 30 years of my life, and I've been doing business in China and with Chinese for as long as I remember. And in all of these years, it's always been traditional business. Either it was consulting, it was marketing, it was sourcing, it was manufacturing, no matter what. I have gone through the whole process. When the spread of the virus was announced, it was January 23rd. And on January 25th, it was Chinese New Year. On that evening, we had organized in Italy a dinner, a Chinese New Year dinner, with the Italy-China link, which is a para-government association organized by the Chinese government to help excellence in Italy to meet with excellence in China. So the evening was on a top level. We had the consular of Milan, Chinese consular in Milan. We had Air China. I was sitting on the table with Air China general manager.
How was the mood? How was the mood?
The mood was a little bit confused. We were ready to hug and wish everyone a happy New Year, but the news weren't that good. And I knew for sure that there was something more coming up, and we were just on the top of the iceberg. And so we were basically, instead of discussing possible businesses to do, we were discussing how to help each other. And we started immediately to organize a task force. Everybody pro bono, to collect whatever could be possibly needed in China to support the emergency. And so we did for 4 weeks. And for 4 weeks, we were just running around and collecting masks, collecting protective gears and stuff. And it's been a very, very hard job, but we did it. Okay, we managed to send out several million euro worth of goods, and we all did that free of charge. Okay, so it was a very humanitarian rush on a high level, but it was, all professional going on after that, and it's been a success in terms of what we could do. It was very, very excellent. But still things, I could see that the general public did not really perceive the gravity of a situation. So what I did, starting from half of February, middle of February, I asked my family not to go out. So we went into a volunteer
quarantine, basically, before it was announced.
Yeah. There was only my wife and I, which we gave turns to each other to go for shopping. Okay, I came back from my trips and I said, okay, I cancel all of my meetings and everything was locked down. Because I felt that if I could help anyone, no matter who, okay, was just not to be around and spread the possible contagious virus, okay, and that's how I felt. I felt a little bit stupid at the same time because you know, school closed immediately after, but at the same time, you know, I was asking my kids not to go out. You know, I have 3 kids, and I even asked my son who lived in Milan. I said, why don't you ask your company to do smart working and work from home rather than being in the office and you know, be a possible
threat. Yeah.
infective threat. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have or not the virus, okay? It matters that you're not around. That's what it all counts. And so that's what we did. A few weeks later, the Italian government decided to go on with certain strict rules, and then now we are in a lockdown. It started from the north of Italy. I'm staying in Padova right now, and which is 30 kilometers away from Venice, and on the way to Milan. And started from my area, then Lombardy, then Milano's area, and then it went going, you know, went straight down to the south. And yeah, it was like something we could have predicted. But at the same time, nobody seems to understand the gravity of a situation, which was...
And why do you think is that? I mean, China, that's what a lot of people are talking about right now. They say, okay, China figured out, obviously with delays at the very beginning, so we all understand that. But essentially, they acted rather swiftly after this initial hiccup. And then they bought 2 months of time, that's what a lot of people are saying, to the world. So why has the world not reacted? Why... You know, people are still out on the beaches, people are still partying. There was all that going on for quite a bit of February and even March.
Why that? Oh, that's no. I think people don't take themselves seriously. I mean, even now, there are several cities in Italy where the majors is saying, okay, if I cannot forbid you to go out for a walk, okay, then I will forbid you to walk on the public soil. Because, I mean, there is a situation where if you ask people to be cooperative and not to make at risk their life or other people's life, okay, and they don't stay at home, then they say, okay, then we need to take a higher range of action. So if I cannot forbid you to go out, then I will forbid you to walk on the public soil. So you stay at home. There is no other chances. Now, this has not been done yet officially, but these are the thinking that
something that people are thinking about. That's right.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I'm not a psychologist, okay, but you see, there is, I mean, we all, it's so difficult to say. I mean, we always have someone smart, and then you will say, it will never happen to me, or it is not going to happen to me. I don't know, is this a situation? Let's hope for a better time, but yeah, people react very differently. You know, the first they ignore the problem and then they panic about it. So probably I'm not the right person to give you that answers, but I took some actions which I felt full at the beginning. Now it's been a month that I'm in lockdown, and you know, I was not in China before Chinese New Year, just because I was able to have a video conference with my partners, and so I said, okay, I'm not coming to China just because I don't want to. Okay, so I could have been a possible infected case that brought the virus back from China to Italy. I was in Italy just because it was Chinese New Year, and during Chinese New Year, everything is shut down. So for me, it's not useful to be in China while I have a family who stays in Italy, and I fly on and off every other week usually. So
absolutely. And I remember that post that you published a couple of days ago talking about how your Chinese associates and friends and business partners, the moment they figured out what's happening in Italy, they actually reached out to you and offered help. They said, hey, how can we send you,
exactly
masks? And,
you see, you follow me on LinkedIn, okay? And I never mention anyone that I've been helping in the background to organize and collect all the protective masks and gears to send to China in the first 4 weeks since January 23. And I'm not here to advertise it. I mean, I have nothing to take for it. Okay, that's done. That's good. Okay, but even people didn't know about that. The thing is that the many people I know every day, they keep asking me, "Are you okay? Do you need anything? I got plenty of masks now. Can I send you 200 masks, 500 masks for you and your family to have?" And I go like, well, mask, we don't have them in Italy. It's ironical because you can go to a supermarket now without having a mask, but the supermarket does not provide you for the mask. They provide you for the gloves to touch the food, but they don't provide you for a mask. So you queue up, there are very long queues out of a supermarket with people with tissue papers brought up with elastic bands. It's funny, but that's how it is. It's and I got a lot of people asking me if I needed mask, and I got a few of them sending me voluntarily DHL parcels with mask in it. So I got my mask right now. So thank you very much.
That's beautiful. What do you feel right now is the impact on businesses? Obviously, you are also following closely China. So maybe a quick take on what do you feel is happening in China right now, and then a little bit of a take what's happening in Italy, because I know that in Italy a lot of businesses are first of all smaller scale, kind of family-run businesses, and many of them are also offline first. So this transition into what's happening right now is obviously much harder. What's your take on that?
Well, my take is that China is reacting very fast and very well to this crisis. I never thought that China would step back. They have a 2 months lockdown. That means that for 2 months they haven't done anything basically, but now things are getting back to normal very, very fast. And people need and want to get back on the streets, get back and in the shops and go to theaters, movies and shows and work, and they want to work. They really feel the push, they feel like, God, I really need to do something good today. It's not going to be the same easy in Europe. Europe, and I talk about Europe, I'm not entitled to talk about America, but about European countries and Italy. Italy probably more than the others. It's going to be a much longer procedure. It's going to take much more time. It's going to be much more difficult to get back to normal. We will have a new normal. I don't know
Absolutely.
if you ever heard about this definition, but this new normal has yet to be defined in Italy. It's gonna be a completely different approach. It's gonna
Do
be
you think
difficult.
It's going to be more digital? Because in China, essentially what happened, as you know, again, you're watching the market, it's all about being even more digital, relying even more on e-commerce, taking from education to work, to clubbing, to entertainment, everything going more online, and in innovating business models like restaurants or cinemas right now sell popcorn as a franchise instead of using their offline spaces, or some of the restaurant staff being borrowed as delivery men for e-commerce channels. I mean, all of this kind of employee sharing model. Imagine this, I as a business could start a new company where I start sharing my employees. That is China right now in 2020. What do you feel on that front? How soon and in which direction would Europe, as you said, evolve?
Well, as you know, besides doing business and being a consultant for enterprises, small, medium, and even large enterprises, on how to act and react in China, what I do also, I have classes in 2 different universities in Italy. One is H-Pharm and the other one is University of Turin. In H-Pharm, they're doing a digital bachelorship, and in University of Turin is business administration. And I teach the impact of China in business, China business mindset and strategies. And what I pray for and what I teach them is how China is digital and why China can be a perfect digital ground for business development. If I take my views on China, my experience on China back to Europe, we are basically 10 years behind. but it's not much a technology which is behind. It's more like the bureaucracy behind, and so the difficulties to get things connected. You know better than anybody else in the world how easy it is in China to just think about something, look for it, find it, and buy it, and have it the same day or the day after. This process in Europe is very difficult. Even if you find information about the products, to get the products at your home, to buy it, to own it, it takes much longer. And this bureaucracy, including the payment procedures and everything, this bureaucracy that there are behind, may let the people, give up on the immediate impulse to buy for the things they need and take a walk and go to the shop to see whether they have it available on the shelves. Okay, so this situation today will definitely change things. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are not able to do that simply because they don't have the tools. And and there is going to be the need to explain the population what kind of tools to use and how to implement them so that you can close the circle.
Do you think that people are ready? Because as you said, technology and the process is definitely a part of the problem, but do you feel that people are indeed ready to go a bit more digital in Europe?
I think people, they are looking for it. I don't think that there is that much distance from being digitalized or non-digitalized. I think they say, if we could only use it, why not? Let me tell you a different experience. Just a few days before the lockdown, I was queuing up on going to the pharmacy to buy gloves, no medicine. But anyway, I met one of the teachers of my kids on the road, and I said, yeah, but since the schools have been closed for so long, okay, why don't you do any online class? Why don't you teach online? And they simply go like, well, we wish we could, but we don't have a permission from the government to do so. It's a matter of privacy. It's a matter of tools. We don't have a guideline. We don't have, we don't know what software to use. And we cannot enforce every family to have a computer at home or to have an iPad or a mobile phone. And then the kids are small, it's going to be difficult. No, this is not going to work. We wait until the schools open up again. Now, this was the mentality of a teacher, of a professor, of a secondary school. Okay, and these days, something has moved, and my little son is 12 years old, Filippo. He has been trying to do some lessons online, but he says, we have a 40 minutes time frame to talk with the teachers. And basically 35 minutes of it is like, okay, is everybody online? Can you hear me? Can I see you? Can you turn off your mic? But there is complete ignorance on how to use the tools. So we need to do a little bit step back, go back into the roots and tell people how to use things, how to teach them. And even the young kids, which are, the new generation, the digitally born kids, they know how to play with these things, but they don't know how to use them. It's so difficult to get into a normal routine. So the new normal will not be the new normal that we will see in China. The new normal will be something a little bit behind in times. It will take some time. Eventually, we will make it, we will manage it, but it will take some time.
Do you choose to look at this situation right now as an opportunity or as a crisis? And if it is an opportunity, then where do you see the most opportunities right now for both China and the globe?
Oh, well, you and I know very well what crisis is in Chinese, okay? It's both the danger and an opportunity, obviously. I am a natural born optimist. I've been through many periods of my life where I thought that I gave up. I mean, there's nothing more left for me, or I've been on top of the mountains and go like, oh, nothing's gonna tear me off. Nothing's gonna take me down. Okay. So life is a roller coaster. So we need to be able to react very fast in time of crisis. Okay. It doesn't matter if we fail. What I learned is that the success is just a matter of how fast we get up once we fail. So if this is a situation where we could consider each other on a failure mood, okay, it doesn't matter if we fail. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes in our life. We all know that, okay? And this situation showed us that we're not ready to face a pandemic. The government is not ready, the people is not ready, the infrastructure are not ready. And realizing this is definitely a failure. But if we just stick on that, we will never get up. So just forget about what was the situation before, and let's move on to the new normal. That is going to be the result of many, many little steps that we have learned and that we are observing, in particular, in between how to cooperate with each other. So sharing and cooperation should be the new diktat for our living approach.
And if you had one advice, because you are teaching students in university, essentially the Chinese way of moving forward, the wisdoms, the business wisdoms and more, I would say philosophical wisdoms as well. So if you could give one advice to entrepreneurs, business owners, brands around the world on how to approach these uncertain times, what would you tell them? What is one of those wisdoms that really keeps you anchored in the positivity and presence?
Well, I think I just said it before. I mean, it doesn't matter what the situation is right now, and if you either feel to be on top of a situation or in your worst case scenario, okay? Tomorrow is a new day. Wake up and work, because things are there to be done, and when I mean you, I mean everybody, including me, we all have an opportunity to do a change and make a change for everyone, starting from our family to our employees to our partners and neighbors. I mean, one of the things I do every day, I go and talk in our WhatsApp groups and ask the people in my building. I'm living in a condo in Padua, and ask them if everything is okay, and if anybody needs anything. There are old people, there are young people, there are people who go out because they need to work, and they're allowed to go out. But you see, if I can help somebody to do something, share something with them, then that's a good thing. And starting from this, we can improve a lot with the people that will recognize us tomorrow. Hey, he has done something good for us. So sharing is good. That's my
empathy
advice.
And sharing and staying again in the now. Every day is a new opportunity. This is absolutely beautiful. And we're going to leave you right now with this wisdom from Alberto Antinucci. Do follow him on LinkedIn and on his website, Antinucci. Is it .com or .it?
It's a .it.
.it for Italy. Alberto, please stay safe. Keep doing the amazing things. And we are going to chat again soon.